Good evening. Welcome to the show on a night which could make or break the Peterborough Pirates. With me in the studio tonight are Dick Britton, the man trying to save Peterborough's professional ice hockey team, the sole remaining director of Pirates' operating company Arena Sports, and Peter Oakes, promoter of the City Speedway team, the Panthers, the man who has rebuilt a rock-bottom outfit into genuine championship material. Can he do for ice hockey what he's already done for Speedway? We'll be discussing this in just a moment. But first, last Sunday's game against Kingston Hawks saw an all-out effort from Pirates players, matched by an all-in effort from their fans, who crowded into a post-match meeting to hear the news about the team's future. They left that meeting feeling that the team had finally reached the point of no return. Dick, how did it come to this?
I think that there's been a number of factors that have contributed, but in the end the team can't go on unless there is a management team to organise, to manage, to do the day-to-day, and that's really the position that the team found itself in. We had to make a decision there and then. Did we call it a day? And that's not in the Peterborough Pirates' nature to call it a day. The other alternative was to try and encourage other people to come onto the board, to take on some of the workload and some of the day-to-day jobs, or to look and see if there was any organisation that was interested in coming in and taking things forward.
Why did it come to this, Dick? Why?
The reason I got re-involved was because one of the other directors had to leave the company to concentrate on his business efforts. So that meant that as a trading company we needed to make certain decisions. And one of those decisions in the end was to pursue a complete new organisation to come in and take us forward.
Okay, well thank you, Dick. On Sunday night, Peter Oakes offered the Pirate supporters an opportunity to save ice hockey in Peterborough, only to see old feuds rise to the surface again. The majority of the fans at the meeting made it clear that they want to turn their backs on the internal bickering and move forward as a business and not a commune. Peter, what attracted you to the Pirates in the first place?
It really was another professional sport in Peterborough. That it all really started by absolute chance, that I was talking to Simon Potter and simply said to him, you know, how's the ice hockey going? And we started to talk, and in the end he said, would you ever be interested in taking it over? And I said, we'd always look at it. And then suddenly, I think probably 2 days later, I had a phone call from him who simply said, you know that conversation, were you actually serious? And I said yes, and it sort of developed from there. We then had a series of meetings with different people.
Which factors did you take into consideration when thinking about this project?
Well, from a purely personal point of view, that we were looking at it as an adjunct to our Speedway operation. Speedway runs on virtually the opposite season to hockey, and it would suddenly turn us into a 52-week of the business, and we could see a lot of mutual benefits to both sides, as far as marketing, as far as sponsorship, as far as fundraising was concerned. Also, I've been, I'd say, an irregular fan of Bretton over the last 2 or 3 years, that my grandson is quite a fan and goes as often as he can, and really it was the combination.
So can you help the Pirates, and will you help the Pirates?
Unfortunately, no. We're not in a position to now. That we had a particular plan, which was a 5-point plan, which has been fairly well publicised, and I think we made it plain to everybody concerned, including Dick when we first spoke to him, that unless all those 5 points came together, then we certainly wouldn't look at it. We were only looking at it as a business proposition. I have to make that absolutely plain.
So why hold the public meeting last Sunday if you hadn't cleared up all these points with the other ice hockey teams within the club?
Because there was no point to clear up with the other ice hockey teams. That we were in a situation where our 5 points included one was that we needed to know that we had the support of the fans, which was why the public meeting was called. We'd already spoken to the ice rink, we'd already spoken to the PIHL with Paul Biffin. In fact, we'd already spoken to the chairman of the Peterborough Ice Hockey Club, that I'd spoken to him, I think it was on the Thursday or the Friday before the public meeting. I told him what we were doing and said I would like to meet you, either afterwards or again and talk about it. So they were fully aware of the situation, that they knew the 5 points, and if they now pretend that they didn't, then I suggest that they talk to their chairman, who was fully conversant with it. I think, in fact, even Dick spoke to him as well to tell him what was happening.
So you're not taking on the Pirates. What would you say to the people that say that you just publicise this for a publicity stunt?
Why? What do we gain from it? That, who on earth would travel down to see Paul Biffin and Gary Stephan? Who would spend? I think we must have spent 100, 120 man hours. That we've no need for publicity. Why should we get involved in a publicity stunt?
So will you reconsider your decision perhaps in the future? No.
I don't say not in the future. I'd never say never, never again. But certainly it's not in a situation where we'd reconsider it at the moment. Because of the, you've talked about it, everybody talks about it, the constant bickering between the two sides, and fortunately we thought we could go in with a clean sheet, and people, we had no access to grind, we weren't involved in any of the past indiscretions. I accept totally that there were problems on both sides. A lot of people seem to think we've simply, used the Islanders as scapegoats in all this, but we appreciate that. I believe they'd had a raw deal in the past, but they didn't appear, the Peterborough Ice Hockey Club now, to be willing to forget all that and to get behind us. As simple as that. That's why we pulled out.
So Dick, what do you do now?
Well, as I said earlier, we intend to fight for as long as we can. I must admit that it was disappointing to hear Peter's decision. I feel personally that Peter's organisation would have been ideal for ice hockey in Peterborough, not just for the Pirates. He has a proven track record, very professional outfit, and as Peter himself touched on, independent of all or some of the problems that have been around us for a while. So I'm disappointed on that, but what I've got to do, I've got to accept Peter's decision, and we've now got to look at what else we can do. We're very limited options at the moment. The lads are going into this weekend's game under their own steam, so to speak. They've organised that themselves, and basically that will be the final game for Peterborough Pirates as it is now. But having said that, we like to be optimistic. Peterborough's had its back to the wall before. We've turned up at that rink and found the doors locked, the ice dug up, and we've still managed to find a way to put ice hockey back on in front of the public. So I believe that we should pursue all options, even from tonight. We can appeal to anyone that feels they can add something to the Pirates. The introduction of a complete new organisation would have been ideal, but there is another alternative, and that is if people were to come forward to join the present board or take part in a new organisation, a management team, whatever. So they're the other options that are open to us, but we've got to be realistic, and I think that we have our backs to the wall, and I don't think that we're likely to have anyone come through right now.
So what happens to the remaining Pirates?
Well, as I said, that I don't think they want to believe that there aren't going to be a Pirate team anymore, and they've agreed to go into this weekend on their own. I'm sure that some of them have had offers from other teams. In fact, even without the last two or three weeks that we've gone through, some of them have probably been approached. But to their credit, they've stuck with the team. The majority of them have stuck with the team. And those that have stuck with it, I would hope that they actually find other teams to play for. We've made the league aware of the position that we're in, and that they can maybe look to circulate people's names to other teams. I guess there might be a few scouts down there on Sunday having a look and seeing if there's players that they can use in their own organisations.
Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you for joining me here in the studio on a matter which is of great concern to many of you, I'm sure. For those of you who missed the Pirates' last game, you can see the highlights on the last Pirates on 8 programme on this Saturday at 1 p.m. and again on the following Wednesday at 8 p.m. Thank you again to my guests, and thank you from me, Sarah Bulmer. Good night.